Hello, everybody. Welcome to my BookTube channel, Marlicious Meanderings. I am Marlicia, no longer known as Marlicia Muses. I have changed my BookTube handle to Marlicious Meanderings without the apostrophe that denotes possession because they don't support that apparently in the handle. So anyway, I am no longer Marlicia Muses. I am just Marlicious Meanderings. And welcome to my BookTube channel. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I was on retreat this weekend, but here I am with a book tag. I was tagged by uh, Phillip Hall, who is a Poet Reads to Write. Thank you very much for tagging me. And this is the A Matter of Taste, Music or No Music book tag, okay? And it was originated by Robert G. Reader of Books. So I want to thank him for creating this tag. Now, it has 6 prompts, and the 7th prompt is to tag others. I will put those tags in the description below the video. And if you have been tagged before, I apologize. If I don't tag you and you'd like to do it, feel free to take part with the tag because it'll be fun, okay? And let me know, tag me too, so I can see what you've done, all right? Please. The first prompt is, do you listen to music while you read? That depends on what I'm reading. If I'm studying, I might listen to instrumental music. If I'm doing Bible readings or things like that, I tend not to listen to a lot of music because, especially anything that's got words to it, because it confuses me and it distracts me and I can't focus. So it really depends. I don't need absolute silence when I read necessarily, but I'm very particular about what I read, and it just kind of depends on what genre I'm reading and what I'm trying to get out of it. Prompt number 2, is there a special kind of music you prefer when reading? And I kind of touched on that in the first question. Basically, if it's something that's nonfiction, where I'm trying to learn something, it has to be instrumental, very background, almost elevator kind of music, but not quite. Uh, Chants, Gregorian chants, Mozart, some non-intrusive soundtracks. In other words, what I mean by that is that if I listen to it, I don't know what movie it's from, because if I know what movie it's from, I start thinking about the movie instead of the book I'm reading. So, like Star Wars is very, very distinctive. Mission Impossible is very distinctive, and I won't focus on what I'm doing. I'll start thinking about the movie. Okay, so it has to be something that's just very soft, very gentle, but not so gentle that it puts me to sleep. Okay. Number 3, is there a particular kind of music you would never listen to while reading? I would never listen to heavy metal or rap when I'm reading. In fact, I don't listen to that very much anyway. I don't really like heavy metal, and rap has to be of a specific type for me to want to listen to. And I probably wouldn't listen to folk music. I love folk music and bluegrass, all that kind of stuff, but anything that has a story to it, like what's his name? I can't think of it now. Chapin. I can't think of his first name. He does all these kind of story lyrics, and if I listen to that, then I get caught up in that story instead of my book or what I'm trying to read. So, but that's not never. That's just a specific. Never. Yes, acid rock, hard heavy metal kind of stuff. I wouldn't listen to that, or rap, particularly the rap that's kind of gangster rap and that kind of stuff. I just don't care for that anyway, but not when I'm reading, especially. Number 4, do you read in silence? Yes, I do read in silence. No particular book. It's more of a mood. If I want to be just kind of fully immersed in the story, especially something that I'm reading for the first time and I don't want to be distracted by any extraneous kind of stimulus, I will read that in silence and get the full immersion of the book itself, and not, just not be encumbered by noise, music, which would be noise at that point, because I'm trying to get to know the characters, or I'm trying to really, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm really trying to ingest and understand what it is I'm reading. So silence, yes, I can read in silence. Sometimes I don't like that. Sometimes, like with fantasy and things like that, I will read something that's gently, I guess you would say, fantastical, maybe, like Lord of the Rings or something kind of gentle in the background, very soft. That kind of can get me into the mood. Conversely, of to reading, I do like to write with music, but it has to be a specific. Usually, it has to be um, acoustic guitar, very gentle, soft acoustic guitar, or very soft piano, flute, violin, maybe harp, that kind of stuff for writing and reading as well, but more for writing. And that was not really part of the prompt, but you got a bonus for that. Okay. The fifth prompt is a scenario. A scenario. Yeah, I can't speak. A scenario. You're reading in a public space and someone begins playing music. What do you do? Um, I guess it depends on the kind of music it is. If they're not playing it too loudly and it's not like intrusive, with lots of lyrics and things like that, I might try to just kind of work through it. Or if it's in an enclosed place, I might move farther away from them. If it's outside, I'd move farther away. I don't usually like to confront people. The only time I might is if I'm studying and that's the only place I have to study. I might say something, but generally I kind of just, I take the initiative and I'll move. I don't like to bother people. So I would probably move to the furthest area I could away from them. I might, if they look nice, I might say, hey, can you please turn the music down at least? If it's not, if it's not overly loud, there's nothing around saying that you can't play music, then they have every right to play the music. As much right as I do to have silence in a public place, then I should probably move. Okay. 6, does it matter whether music is playing while you read? I think I answered that already. It depends. It depends on what my goal is for the reading. Am I studying? When I was when I was going to college, I learned a lot of the words to the music of the Doors, because all the way down the hall, at the end of the hall, I was in the middle of the hall, where you come off the elevators, you go this way and you go that way. I was like the second room here. They were all the way down the end of the hall, and they blared that music, and I swear I learned every song of the Doors, and I'd never heard of the Doors before that because they played it all the time, and I had to learn to study through that. I think their neighbors finally asked them to tone it down. They kind of stopped playing it so loudly, but um, it I can it does matter. It makes it more difficult for me to retain information if I have too much going on. Of course, when I was younger, I could separate more. I could kind of compartmentalize, say, okay, there's music going on. I'm going to shut that off. I know it's in the background. I shut it off and just focus. I can't do that as well anymore. Old people's brain doesn't work that way. So now, yes, it does matter a little bit, just depending on what kind of music it is. If it's just, very soft in the background, not so soft that, when something is so soft that you can kind of think you can hear it and you're not sure what it is. And so it's not really loud, but you can't focus until you figure out what the music is. I can't, that's distracting. It has to be, so I don't have to, part of my brain's not trying to figure out what it is that's playing. So just soft enough that, yeah, I know what it is, but not loud enough that it interferes with my thinking process. So yeah, boy, that was quick. I'm already to tagging others. This is a very short video. I will put the people I tag in the description below the video. In the meantime, I thank you for meandering with me, and I will see you next time I record. I wish you a very blessed day and week. God bless, and I'll see you later.